Hello, Pokey Peeps. This is Ollie Mae, and welcome back to the fanfiction. My point of view: I walked downstairs with Emily. I grabbed a book and read a few chapters, and there was a knock at the door. I got up and answered it. Emily was wrapped with my grasp, and everything went black. When I woke up, I was in a cornfield. It was pitch black. I was chained to a wall. I tried to use my powers. Nothing. That won't work, sweetheart, a familiar voice explained. I looked up and saw Googleplier. He was beside a man who resembled Auntie. Where's my daughter? I said angrily. Oh dear, you have to earn her. The other man explained. Wait, you're Azard, I yelled. He smirked. You're my daughter. Oh, you have to earn her, the other man explained. Wait, you're Azar, I yelled. He smirked. How do I earn my daughter back, I asked. Every question possible ran through my mind, but I didn't care. I wanted my daughter. Be a good girl, Google replied. I glared at him and didn't scream. Asgard whispered menacingly. I felt a sharp pain in my leg, then my arm, followed by my back. Finally, it stopped. I looked at the floor. Blood tickled my body. Bring me Emily, I said through chattered teeth. Azar walked away. When he returned, Emily was in his arms. A tear trickled down my cheek. Azar set my daughter in a crusted and bloody crib. The other two men left. For 2 weeks, they continued to torture me, every day stabbing me. That didn't matter. What mattered was my daughter. I did as they told me. Every time Emily was fed or changed, this day felt different. Not because I'm weaker, not because tears strained down my face, not because blood crept to my torn clothes. I felt like today was the day I would be safe again. I sat for hours watching my daughter sleep. I heard footsteps, then I felt a sharp pain in both legs. They had it the worst. I could barely stand. I'm used to it though. They stab me every day. I could feel it now.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline.
Jeez. Sorry, my ringtone. Hold on. I could barely stand. I'm used to it, I thought. They stabbed me every day. I could feel it now. I watched as a small trail of blood ran down my leg to the floor. Whoever did it left quickly. I sat there quietly. Emily was gone. He took her. I watched as Googleplier sat her in the disturbing crib. Suddenly, the light filled the room, but it was gold light. I couldn't see what happened, but I hoped someone would be dead. I took the moment. I wiggled my crusty head back and forth. A bobby pin fell out. It landed down and I grabbed it with my teeth. I heard Ghoul and Azard yelling at each other. I used the bobby pin to unlock my chains. I'm free. The light went out and there was silence. I waited for a moment. Finally I stood. A little wobbly thought. I grabbed my daughter and bottled towards the large, cold door. Slowly it opened. There was a large tunnel and 2 doors on each side of me. One had Azar's name on it and the other had Google's. I ran down the tunnel. I heard yelling behind me. There were footsteps. I noticed the ground was wet, so every footstep splashed. I ran faster and faster. I could feel my daughter's breath on my chest. I noticed the green light. I ran faster and faster. Finally, I saw a familiar figure. I collapsed at his feet. The man dented down beside me. I felt his warm embrace. Auntie, the love lights the way, I whispered into his chest. We were standing now. I noticed Dirk and Amy searched in Wilford behind Auntie. I smiled. Amy took Emily. The two of us stepped behind the men. Oh, little brother, it's so great to see you, I heard Ezra yelled. I peered around Wilford. I just noticed the large scar around his face. Scar. I see the scar is still there, dark and hard as our angers. Thanks to your little brother, Wilford mentioned. Auntie's silenced him. I saw the green flame shoot out of his hands. Dark shook Amy and I away. She brought me to the surface. Amy and I teleported to the castle. I collapsed on the bed. Ollie, PewDiePie is here. He's gonna help, Amy explained. I nodded as PewDiePie searched all my wounds. I didn't feel anything. How does this not hurt you? PewDiePie suddenly asked. I'm used to it, I explained with a sore throat. It had been a while since I spoke. Suddenly, Stitch and Wilford teleported in. PewDiePie just finished. Dad sent us back, Serge explained. She rushed to my side. I nodded. Google is dead. We buried him, Wilford explained. I nodded. Before I knew what happened, I was asleep. I glanced at Serge before I passed out. She was holding Ethan and Emily. That's a thank you note. And music. Lots of music. Chapter 36, My Perspective. When I woke up, there were creatures beside me. A note was attached to one of them. It said, Dear Ollie, you need to use these creatures for... Oh, there were clutches beside me. A note was attached to one of them. It said, Dear Ollie, you need to use these clutches for a while. You can use the elevator to get around. You're not able to teleport, though. If you teleport, you can land wrong and F your ankles up. Be safe. Auntie. Love, Auntie. I grabbed the clutches and got out of bed and huddled out of the room. I wobbled onto the elevator and got out on the last floor. I wobbled outside to the garden. Amy was chipping her roses. Amy, where's Auntie? I asked, leaning on my clutches. My right leg stiffened most of the pain, so I held it up. Oh, hey, Ollie, he is in the throne room, Amy replied. She did not lift her eyes off of the rose bush. I wobbled inside and went to the throne room. I used the tip of one of my clutches to open the door. Auntie was not in there. There is a door behind our thrones that leads to his office. He might be in there. I hobbled over to the back of the thrones. Only now do I notice the button on the ground. I pressed it with one of my clutches. My clutches were pink. I watched as the king and queen thrones split apart, revealing a cold gray statue. I noticed the drops of blood on the stairs. Oh, a cold gray staircase. Okay, that makes more sense. On the stairs, I sat down on the top step, set my clutches beside me, and began to sculpt. Finally, I met it all the way down. There was a cold metal door blocking the room. I could see through the small hole on the top. I slowly pushed the door open, revealing Auntie with his brother chained to a wall. Piles of blood were everywhere. Bloody knives sharped out on the table, said Auntie, and the room was angry. None of the man noticed me, so I watched. How dare you? She is my wife, my love, my everything. You tortured her, Auntie scolded. Well, I figured she would be with the rest of our family, Azard replied. I should seriously lead on my I stood silently, leaning on my clutches. Karma is a bitch, Auntie whispered. Antisepticeye was cute, blushed, tired, and his suit was ripped to shreds. Only now did he notice me. Ollie, what are you doing here? He asked, looking for me. Looking for you, I replied. He nodded. I wiggled over to the knife table. I grabbed the biggest, sharpest blade I could find. I held it close to Azard. He seemed worried. I looked at him. I drew the blade away and snapped it. I'm not that low, I muttered, wiggling away, and upstairs. I pushed the button and the entrance shut. Search came running. Mom, someone's here to see you. And Dad, Search explained. I nodded and slowly followed her to the front door. There was a doorway with a pink hair woman and a blue hair man. I could smell the blood on the woman, and the dog's scent came from the man. Hello, the woman greeted. Hello, I replied. We are the parents of Search's friends, Askara. We were wondering if she could hang out with Search, the woman asked. Sure, I replied. A purple-haired girl stopped out from behind her mom. She ran to Search and the two went upstairs. Thank you, Mama. Most won't allow Askara to play with their children, the man explained. I nodded. She is half vampire, half werewolf. When she was born, Jake was kicked out of the pack. The woman continued. Brenda was banned from her clan, Jake explained. Jake ended. Well, it's really no problem, honestly, I answered. Thank you, Queen Ollie. Brenda replied, please call me Ollie, I told the couple. Would you like to come in, I asked. The two nodded and stepped inside. The three of us walked into the living room and sat down. We told stories for hours. Eventually, the girls asked if Abigail could spend the night. We all agreed. The three of us walked eventually the girls asked if Abigail could spend the night. We all agreed and the girls were so happy. I had a feeling I would see a lot of Abigail, Jake, and Brandon. Serge's friend's name, Ascarilla. Mother's name, I have no idea. Brit. We'll call her Brenda, and we'll call the daughter Arkiel. Something. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names. I can't. I'm just sorry for mispronouncing some of these names. A week later, my perspective. Abigail's birthday already passed. Searches was tomorrow. I sat next to Auntie on our bed. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. When someone like Search reaches the age of 13, the age replies and grows rapidly. The age relentlessly and grows rapidly. So on the 13th day, the child turns 16, Auntie explained quickly. Is that what happens to Abigail? I asked. Auntie nodded. Search wouldn't be so little anymore. How did it happen to Abigail? I asked. Well, hybrids like Abigail had mixed DNA. The vampire DNA makes her live forever. The werewolf DNA allows her to grow old. These two fight together and result in a child growing rapidly. Auntie replied. I nodded in understanding. Tomorrow's search. Oh. These two fight. Auntie replied. I nodded in understanding. Tomorrow's search wanted her hair dyed and cut. She was sick of her blue hair. The next day, I walked into the parlor with Search. She explained what she wanted done with her hair. The woman nodded and got to work. When it was done, her hair looked awesome. Search, you look great, I told her as we left the parlor. Thank you, Mom. Search replied. Hey, Search. Abigail yelled from down the street. Search looked at me. I nodded for her approval. She paused before running off. I will ask now, can I spend the night? Search asked. Yes, you can, I replied. Search smiled and ran off. I walked home alone. Search point of view. I walked with Arcrea. The two of us talked the whole time. Arcrea had long purple hair. My hair is now my hair color. The dye we have here lasts forever, unless you dye it a different color. When we arrived at Arcea's house, we ran upstairs. School was out for the summer, so we didn't have homework. I sat on Arcea's bed. She sat next to me. I can't believe we are 16 already, I whispered. Me neither, Arcea explained. I have known her since birth. Our mothers were best friends. We just stopped talking after my mom passed. I looked into Arcea's golden eyes. They were focused on my silver eyes. Slowly, we leaned closer. There was a small gap between us. My hand clutched her, cupped her cheek. Soon, the gap closed. Her lips were soft and sweet. I went back slowly and she crawled on top of me. She began to slide her skirt up. I heard footsteps outside the door. She released my shirt, and the two of us sat up quickly. We tried to make it seem like nothing happened. Her mom stepped in. My cheeks seemed to be on fire. She set the hamper down in Arcea's room and left. After she was gone, the two of us giggled. Whoa. Okay. I'm fine with that, but that went quickly and came out of nowhere. Anyways, this is all the time I have for this video. If you guys liked it, please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Goodbye, Poke Peeps.